And viewers, our senior executive editor Abhishek Kapoor has also spoken with the former ambassador of US to India, Atul, in fact, of the crucial visit of Prime Minister Modi. Listen in.
Prime Minister is on his way to the United States for what's being billed as the most momentous visit that's going to be defining or redefining the India-US partnership. To discuss that and on more, joining us from Washington, D.C., former ambassador of the US to India and, of course, president of the US-India Business Council, Atul Keshap. Hello and welcome on this show, Ambassador Keshap.
Thank you very much, Abhishek. It's great to be on. Yes, this is a very bright moment in US-India relations. And, being billed as the big-ticket one, Prime Minister Modi there in Washington, D.C., please tell us, from the D.C. vantage that you have, what really makes America think that India-US is the partnership of the moment? Well, Abhishek, it's not the partnership of the moment. It's the partnership of the 21st century. Look at how we've had the National Security Advisor, the U.S. Secretary of Defense, U.S. Secretary of Commerce, U.S. Secretary of Treasury, U.S. Secretary of State, all in India recently. This is clearly a signal by Delhi and Washington that the U.S.-India relationship will be the defining relationship of any two countries on earth for the remainder of the 21st century and beyond. And it is because of the strength of our people, our democratic systems, our growing economies, and the power of our ideas and innovation.
Yeah, and Ambassador, since you are also the president of the US IBC, it needs asked, while the business partnership, both on the public and the private sector side, has been long-standing with the software and the IT industry and whatnot. But is this visit going to really redefine the India-US collaboration when it comes to hardware, when it comes to manufacturing? But that's what we are getting to hear. For example, the GE deal, which is being talked about, the Predator deal that's being talked about. You think that's going to be a tectonic shift in the relationship? The manufacturing component, the shop floor component, the friendshoring that Janet Yellen keeps talking about?
Abhishek, I think all of the indications are very strong. You remember the old saying that trade follows the flag? Well, the U.S. and Indian flags are definitely showing a clear direction for business and for the private sectors in both economies. Look at the initiative on critical and emerging technologies that we helped launch at the Chamber in January. That talks about semiconductors and defense and cybersecurity. It talks about quantum technologies, artificial intelligence, telecoms. This is the future that is important for both of our free societies and free peoples. Look at the Indus X that we're launching day after tomorrow at the U.S. Chamber. That is going to revolutionize our defense partnership. So I think the two governments are giving very strong indications, and trade and business are following very smartly.
Right. So you mentioned the ICT initiative, and I believe you are launching, while the Prime Minister is going to be there, the Indus X, which is called India-US Defense Acceleration Ecosystem. Please share, if you could share some details of what this really means, specific to the defense sector. Are we, for example, going to see what happened to China in the late 80s and 90s, what happened to the Southeast Asian tiger economies in the 2000s? That's really the moment that India and the United States are looking at together.
Abhishek, I think that the two governments realize that we are bound to each other in common purpose by our shared vision and outlook on the Indo-Pacific, and that we need to enhance our defense interoperability and our defense capability so that our free peoples can have the best and most happy and prosperous future. So what we're talking about with Indus X, which we're very pleased to launch at the Chamber at the request of both governments, is essentially an opportunity for private sectors in both countries to work together to revolutionize the defense production of both nations. We could see American companies making in India for the strength of India, strength of America, and strength of the world. We could see Indian companies making in India and exporting to the entire world. We see both American and Indian companies investing in each other, collaborating with each other to ensure even greater defense capability with world-class technology for both countries, and a very strong message of strength and deterrence so that our countries can continue to be free and happy and secure and prosperous.
Also, it needs to be asked, what are the numbers, what kind of numbers we are really looking at in terms of the India-US trade, in terms of India-US defense collaboration, in terms of co-production, co-development? What are the numbers we are looking at really from $180, $190 billion now to say 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line?
Abhishek, I felt like when I was serving at the US Embassy most recently that our strategic convergence was largely achieving all of its goals that we had set out in many years previous. But the economic relationship really needs to grow even more. U.S.-India trade is about $190 billion a year. It urgently needs to be $500 billion a year. We already have achieved that echelon of trade with Mexico, Canada, the European Union, and with China. India needs to be in that list. We need to harmonize regulations and policies in both directions so that our world-class businesses, Indian and American, can achieve that level of economic trade and growth between each other. And that would help both of our countries and both of our citizens. So at USIBC, we are advocating for ease of doing business, which the Modi administration is doing a wonderful job of focusing on. We're also looking at level playing field, which is to say equitable treatment for Indian companies in America and American companies in India.
Right.
And of course, we believe in regulatory coherence and predictability so that you can draw in massive investments.
Right. Thank you so much, Ambassador Keshap, and for joining us from Washington, D.C. Next few days, very busy for you there.
Viewers, much more coming up. Prime Minister Modi